Hi, Brenty.
Hello! Welcome to the channel. Today is July 28th. Today is July 28th. And the title for today is Check Your Privilege. Musonius Rufus says, "Some people are sharp and others dull. Some are raised in a better environment, others in worse. The latter, having inferior habits and nurture, will require more by way of proof and careful instruction to master these teachings and to be formed by them. In the same way that bodies in a bad state must be given a great deal of care when perfect health is sought." Wow, I love this. He's saying that, I love that he's like acknowledging this, that if you are raised in a bad environment, it's going to take you a lot longer to figure this stuff out. It's going to be more effort. You're going to need more proof in front of you because you grew up with a model of like I'll take my household, for example. My model was just like, life is terrible. Life is always terrible. It can never get better. And this is like pretty much like 100%, I would say. Mm-hmm. And so like now I need proof. My whole adult life has been like seeking proof that it doesn't need to be this way, that people live in other ways and that it's possible. And like it took a long time to get there. And then now he's saying careful instruction to master these teachings and to be formed by them. Yes, careful instructions, because I'm working with like a model of a worldview that is like so different from this model that it's going to need to take a lot of like very like patient. I'm so impatient sometimes. Like it's going to take a lot of patient, diligent, careful, individualized, specific to me instructions from how to move from A to Z.
Or just B, maybe, yeah. But yeah, it's a different, because it's like you're not learning this from scratch. You are relearning this. Therefore, you need to replace your old belief with this new belief, and that is a lot bigger effort for that to do it, and then for it to stick going forward. That's so much more effortful than learning it the right way for the first time, right? So what they're saying is like and we can't choose which environments we grow up with, right? So that's the thing. It's like if it was up to us, well, wouldn't we all just push the button, awesome environment to grow up in? Like, yeah, no, we would, of course. But that's the fun part about it, that we don't actually get to choose it, and we get these cards are dealt to us in some way, right? And now we got to play that game. In order to play and learn and get the right good cards, you have to learn that game. And now unfortunately, wherever we grew up, they taught us how to do it like this. And I'm not even talking about parents. I'm not even talking about any individual. It's just that place, that environment, that system, whatever they were using at that time in that place, in those people, right? They were all going by it. There's some mentality about it, and now you're part of this mentality, and they all are. You hear it from 20 different family members and teachers and friends. This is how to do it, right? And so you are, okay, that's how to do it. And then 20, 30, 50 years later, you're in a different environment, and now you're noticing that there are other ways to do it, maybe better ways to do it, maybe more peaceful ways to do it, right? Like, and now it's the relearning of all of it. It's not just, oh, I'm just gonna adopt this new thing. Well, no, it was reinforced over here 30 times. It's going to be very hard to just get this new idea from here and say, oh, well, this is my new idea, and I'm gonna ignore these 30 times. No, those 30 times are gonna want to drag you back into that belief, right? And so it will take 30 of these now to even this out, where you are on some sort of a level playing field. and now you know, and maybe it's not 30, but it's maybe 5, or you know, it's more than once, right? Versus when we were learning it for the first time, so a lot of times it is once. Some friends tell us something, and going forward, I believe it, you know, as like a 10-year-old or something, you know. And now that is already remembered there, it's stamped in the brain. Now to clear it out and replace it with a new belief, effort, a little more effort for sure. And it's a good, but that's the right effort to do, actually. That's where we should be all efforting more, because that's actually where all the changes, how and who we are, happen.
Yeah, I'm not mad about.
No,
I'm not mad about where I came from, because in some way it almost seems like
it was like meant to be or something. Or?
I have a sense that, like, the place for us in the world as adults is sort of like we find our place based on how our childhoods were. And it doesn't mean like if you have a shitty childhood, you're gonna have like a shitty place in the world. Like all the places in the world can be great if you find yours, like the one for me.
And the worst too, you know.
The one for me is somehow informed by this whole thing, and so I can't hate this whole thing back here, because if I hate that part of myself, I won't find my right place in the world where I fit in and I feel like, oh wow, life just feels nice, and I wake up in the morning and I want to be here, and I'm calm and I'm confident in my ability to handle whatever situation's in front of me.
I like what you said there, like it's almost, I translated, like we can't hate ourselves into understanding or happiness or something, you know, like we can't use hate to go further in the right direction.
Yeah, and I felt that way about my mom the other day too, where I was like, damn, like she's been dead for like 8 years or something, and I can lie to myself and say I don't feel anything. Like that's usually what I say, but that's like not even true. It's not even true that I would be numb about it. Like, no, like there's friction.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't feel exactly like hatred. It doesn't feel exactly like anger. Mm-hmm. It just feels like it feels like a cat fight.
Could it be that the cat fight is in between those beliefs, those old beliefs that maybe your mom was part of creating those, and now you have these new ones that you're actually saying, wow, this is so much more logical, but I can't get to this because this thing is doing meow meow in between each other. Like it's this new way versus this old way, and the replacement of it is this fight. And I'm just speculating.
Maybe, but the fight is there even without this path, because the fight is just, it's me like not totally getting what she went through in life. Like I don't get it from her point of view. I'm still lodged in some of like, well, it wasn't fair that you did this to me. Like there's still some of that storyline in there. So it hasn't been like fully humanized to the point where I'm like, oh yeah, I get it. And part of that too is like, well, how would I verify that? You know, I don't take the time actually to like sit down and think through some of these things. It just kind of like coasts at a very low level. So it's more so just like this friction against her. Like I don't like her. And then I had this realization like a couple weeks ago where I was like, well, I'm like 50% her. So if I internally have this, I don't like her
or one might
feeling.
say a lot more than 50% because you're also a woman, right? And so it's like you have.
Let's just say 50%.
And then also she was the one who was involved in mostly your, raising you and have influence over you, right? Like I'm not saying your dad didn't, but she was the one who was involved in all of these things, right? So it's like I would say like 70%.
Sure, I'm just gonna say 50.
Sure,
but yeah, one could make the argument, certainly. But like if I'm half her and I don't like her, how could I ever like really like myself?
Yeah, no, that would be hard. That would be.
I don't think that's possible.
I mean, and it's not even just your mom, but it's even possible with everyone like this. Like, how can we like ourselves if we hate somebody else, right? Like,
yeah.
what do we hate in them?
Is actually the
the
shit
thing
about ourselves that pisses
yes,
us off.
yes.
It
So,
is.
so from your like, how can I love myself if I hate her, right? So that's interesting because that would be a good place to go in, like some sort of a focusing session to say like, what is it that I hate so much about it, and really be in that space and not think about it, just kind of asking that question and just be in that space and see if like something new comes from there, or
Yeah. It could be a good journal prompt.
yeah
I like to focus when I journal.
yeah that's yeah for sure. Good deal. Cool. Anything else from this? Ryan, let's go Ryan.
I say let's read Ryan.
Let's do it.
Okay, Ryan says, at the end of a frustrating exchange, you might find yourself thinking, oh, this person is such an idiot. Or asking, why can't they just do things right? But not everyone has had the advantages that you've had. That's not to say that your own life has been easy. You just had a head start over some people. That's why it is our duty to understand and be patient with others. Philosophy is spiritual formation, care of the soul. Some need more care than others, just as some have a better metabolism or were born taller than others. The more forgiving and tolerant you can be of others, the more you can be aware of your various privileges and advantages, the more helpful and patient you will be. Yeah, that's true too. Good. It's all context specific. It's like in some contexts, I am like the most blessed one in the space, and I do need to keep that in mind and like really treat people with that tolerance and patience and the humility to be like, hey dude, like it's okay if you aren't as fast as me over here, or yeah, it's okay for you to be where you are because you've had other priorities in your life, and it has made sense for you to make the choices that you've made to get to this point, and you are here like me just doing your best. So I can't think any other way about it.
Right. Everybody's doing their best. Good one. Cool.
Thank you. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're good to go.
See you guys tomorrow.